Going right on. Thank you for joining, Alex. How are things going for you? Yeah, so as I was saying, uh, I was telling Jose that tomorrow we're going to be celebrating another not another license MLO. Um, yeah, we booked a consultation with a realtor. So hopefully by then you're licensed and
Yes, sir.
not hopefully you will be licensed
Oh, yeah.
and ready.
Jose ready. He's ready.
Ready.
Yes,
LP's
sir.
ready. He's ready to go. Yeah. So like I said, we'll wait till 11:05 and then get started. We'll go through these programs and again, more than anything, it's for repetition too, right? We want to provide value to the people that join that are part of the webinar. But I think one of the biggest things is hay gente que se enfoca mucho en how many people show up, but it's more of the repetition. One thing that my dad used to tell me when I was younger, it's failure isn't in trying and not accomplishing what you meant to accomplish. Failure is in not trying at all. So I always tell myself when I make the phone calls with realtors and I reach out and say they don't answer, they don't get back to me, I'm not failing, I'm learning and I'm becoming the person that I need to be to continue to make these phone calls. Presentation is the same thing, right? It's a muscle that we're building to continue to do this. Yeah, Alex? I think he raised his hand.
Oh yeah. Hey, I just wanted to say, hey Jarek, I was having some technical difficulties. Couldn't get my microphone.
No worries, brother. No worries. How are things going for you?
They're going amazing.
Nice. Well, we invited some realtors out from your area. So one thing that I want to do with this too is, there's realtors that want to work with people in person, right? They want their clients to meet someone in person. So if there's a realtor that logs in, maybe not to this one or to the next one, it's, hey, we got Alex that's over there. That's an amazing lender. Why don't we connect you with him and have your client meet with him directly? Same thing with San Diego, Fresno area. Of course, if they want to meet via Zoom, we're here, but it's also to promote, the team and see what we can get from some of this stuff and provide value more than anything. So we'll wait about 2 more minutes and then we'll go through it. Alex, have you closed any non-QM loans, like bank statement loans, anything like that?
I've done DSCR, but I'm about to actually do a bank statement. There's bank statement.
Nice.
So yeah, we're gonna see how that goes.
I think they're great loans. They're great programs. And then also, Pamela, if we can save this for training for the team, that way we know, what programs we have, what's available. For me, the ultimate goal with this is to provide value and provide solutions, right? Because we are in the industry of solving problems. So the more problems we can solve, the better we're going to be at our job. As you guys know, I'm a huge Kobe fan. So one of the things that he would do is master your craft, right? Which is spend some time mastering your craft every day. And whether that's reading guidelines, having a mentor, being around people, joining in these type of webinars. If you look at the most successful people, we have a few realtors that we work with that are constantly at self-development seminars, right? And even though they're super busy, they're already the top producer there at these seminars because these seminars help them get to where they need to be, right? Or where they want to be, which is a great thing to do. And self-development is an endless journey. It's not like you go into self-development and then all of a sudden you reach where you want to be and you stop, right? If you want to continue to grow, you want to continue to develop, it's more about doing the things that the successful people are doing. And if you look at that, a lot of the people that are really successful are continuing to grow, continuing to learn, continuing to develop. Hey, Nayeli, thank you for joining. I mentioned we were going to give like 5 minutes to start. But we are going to be going over, non-QM loans, how these non-QM loans can help you solve more problems for your clients, get you to close more deals. Are you currently a real estate agent? Nayeli?
Yes, hi. I'm with Anna Sim.
Oh, nice. We
Yeah.
didn't meet you when we went over there, did we?
Yeah, I did. I was there.
We did. Okay. Man, my memory, I'm a little bit older, so my memory is short. Jose over here was like, yeah, we did. We met her there. But thank you for joining. Hopefully we get a few more of your team members on here, but we'll go through it real quick. I think it's going to be a short but sweet presentation, going through the non-QM loans, how they can help you find more solutions for your clients. Because at the end of the day, right, most people have and know about conventional, FHA, USDA, jumbo, and those are great programs, don't get me wrong. But those programs can only solve a certain number of problems or help a certain number of families to get pre-approved and to buy a home, right? So with us, we want to provide you guys with as much ammunition or as many programs as we can to find a solution almost for every client. One thing that I always tell realtors and clients is everybody qualifies. Todos califican. It just depends on how much you qualify for, when you qualify for, and if you're willing to follow that roadmap, right? Because we've sat down with clients that we meet. Like we had a client that we met 2 years ago, and it took him 2 years to fix his credit. But then this year he bought in Salinas, right? So with us, we're not transactional. We like to build relationships both with our agents and our buyers. And it's more about making sure that we take our time with each client, explaining every program and every option available to them. So again, thank you guys for joining. It's Valamonte Mortgage Team, powered by Next Gen Home Loans. We have LOs in all over California. So if you guys have clients that want to meet in person, we definitely have someone that we can connect you with. They want to meet via Zoom. They definitely want, if they want to work with our team, then they can work with us directly. But we do have LOs all over California that we can connect with agents. That way they can meet your clients in person if that's what they want. So today we're going to provide some knowledge, a little bit of a breakdown or intro into some of these programs. We can't go into detail on every single program, but we're going to give you a simple breakdown. That way you have an idea on what these programs are about and who they can help. So I want to introduce my team. So it's myself, my wife, Ursula, right? We have Tara, Jose, Pameli, Jesus, I believe, is on here too. So the reason why we have it set up this way is we want to make sure that there's always someone available to answer your questions. Right now, my phone already rang twice, but I don't answer my phone when I'm on meetings like this or meeting with the realtor or meeting with the client. So the reason why we have a team is someone's always available to answer your phone calls and answer those questions. So let's get started with some of these non-QM loans. So the non-QM is it's a non-qualified mortgage, right? It provides a little bit more creative solutions for buyers. So the ideal way to qualify a buyer is a full doc loan, right? Where we look at income taxes, W-2s, bank statements, pay stubs, and that's just using a conventional or traditional loan. When we're doing a non-QM loan, there's a few different options with the bank statement loan. And I always like to talk about it in steps, right? So the first step would be, let's see if your client qualifies for a qualified mortgage, a traditional loan, right? If they don't qualify for that, then we move on to the next best loan program, which is a bank statement loan. Now on bank statement loans, we have 3 different options. You can either do, actually you can do a 6-month bank statement loan as well. So you can do a 3-month, 6-month, 12, or 24-month. The longer the bank statement, so if we have bank statements for 2 years, that rate in that program is going to be more flexible than the program where we only do 3 months bank statements. But we can do it every different way. So we can do 3, 6, 12, or 24. Now, most of these bank statement loan programs are capped at a 90% loan to value, meaning your client has to come in with at least 10% down. The shorter the amount of bank statements that we get, then the lower the loan to value, right? The more money down they're going to have to put. Now, with these programs, we can go as low as a 620 credit score, right? So this program, the bank statement loan program, is ideal for self-employed borrowers or business owners. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to have a business license or a business account or anything like that. As long as they've been in business for 1 full year and they have the 12 or 24-month bank statements, they've been in business 1 year, it would only be 12. So 12-month bank statements, we can do the loan. And again, the biggest thing is they don't have to have a license, and nor do they have to have a business account statement. So a lot of people think, oh, in order for them to qualify, it's a bank statement loan, they have to have a business account. They do not. Right now, we're closing a transaction for 2 clients. One actually has a business. It's a laundromat, 12 months bank statements for that one. The other one is just a handyman, where we're doing a 12-month bank statement loan. Doesn't have a business account. It's just, the account is under his name. So with this type of loan, one thing to know or questions to ask is whenever you're talking to a client, the first 3 things that I always ask, or not first 3, because I always build rapport, but the 3 main questions you want to ask when you're talking to a client is what's going to help them qualify for a home, right? Is their income, their down payment, and their credit. Now, in order to determine if these programs are going to be right for your client, if someone tells you, hey, gano buen dinero, pero no reporto todo. Or like us in real estate, right? We make good money, but we write off a bunch of deductions. So the benefit of this program, the bank statement loan, is that no matter what your deductions are, we only look at the total deposits that you make into your account. So say, for example, if you're making total deposits of 200,000 into your account for the year, right? We divide that by 12, which gives us 16,666. And then there's what's called an expense factor, right? Say, for example, in this one, it was like a 25. Typically, it's 35 to 50, but say we were able to get 25 expense factor. So then total income we'd be able to use would be 12,500. Where in most cases, someone that's self-employed probably reports less income than that on their taxes. And that's the benefit of this program, is they'll be able to qualify for more. But again, the terms and the rate is usually higher the further you go down the ladder, right? So first one is traditional QM loan, conventional. The next one would be a bank statement loan. Any questions on that one? No? All right, we're good. So then the next
Alex has a question.
Hey, Jerry, I actually did have a question.
Yeah.
So they just look at the money that's coming in, because I have a client that says he just turned into, or he just became self-employed, but he's barely breaking even right now. So they wouldn't looking at the breaking even, or just the money coming in.
Just the money coming in. And that's a great question, Alex. So for me, that's what I looked at. The first time I did one of these bank statement loans was, man, I see a lot of deposits, but then the withdrawals are pretty much the same, right? But they don't. So they look at the deposits and then they take the total deposits and then they give it an expense ratio, right? Now, the expense ratio depends on the industry. Like service industry, say, for example, a restaurant. Typically on those, they put anywhere between 40 to 50% expense ratio, right? Carpenter, contractor, those type of institutions, those you can go a little bit lower. But there's ways for us to lower that expense ratio. If you have questions, we can talk about that. But yeah, there's definitely ways for us to lower that. And to answer your question, yeah, this is ideal for someone that's barely breaking even right now, but shows enough deposits into their account. Because a lot of the times when you own your business, you're making money, but most people don't want to do what? Pay taxes at the end of the year. So they write off everything in order for them to qualify. So the next one is, so once we look at the bank statements, yeah.
Sorry, brother. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Thanks for putting this together, brother. I appreciate it. So do you know, so there are some banks that are pickier than others when it comes to bank statements. Like I have a deal in escrow right now, 12 months bank statements with the bank that's called The Lender. Mm-hmm. They are literally wanting to source all of the deposits, even some that are like $5,000, bro. Do you know of a bank that, I know some banks advertise, we just look at your deposits. Some of them even say, we just need the first page of the bank statements and that's all we need.
Yeah, so what I've seen is the only time that I've been asked for sourcing of the deposit is if it's irregular deposits. Like say, for example, someone that has typically 10, 15,000 going into the account per month. And then all of a sudden we have a 30, 40, right? So I've used Champions before and they haven't asked for sourcing of it. The other one, which I haven't used very much, is Cake. Take Mortgage. So when I used them, they didn't ask me for sourcing because I did have a similar situation, but it was because the account had two people's name on it.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Yep. So then the next step, right? First one is, do you qualify for a conventional loan? Because best terms, best pricing. Second one is a bank statement loan. Now, if you have a client that's an investor that's buying a property as an investment home and they're looking to qualify, but say they don't make enough, they don't show enough money on paper, or they have so many rentals already. And most people that have rental properties, you write off as much as you can, right? Because again, you don't want to pay money to the IRS. So someone like that would be ideal for what's called a DSCR loan, debt service coverage ratio. Right now on these, typically you're having to do anywhere between 15 to 20% down, right? Because it's an investment property. But the benefit of it is we don't even have to look at people's income. All we have to look at is that the property is either covering 75% of the payment or more, right? For some cases, you can go a little bit lower, but typically it's 75% or more. Now, the lower that ratio, the higher the interest rate is going to be, or the higher the down payment. For this program, again, ideal for investors, minimum FICO is 660. That's the minimum credit score that you can have to qualify for this program. There is no DTI, right? The only ratios that we look at is the rent compared to the mortgage payment. That's all we look at, right? So this is ideal for investors. So any of you guys that have investors that have people that you pre-qualified in the past and they didn't qualify because they wrote off too many expenses, they had one too many properties, this program is ideal for them. It's also a very, very quick close. You know, we're closing one right now. I think we're at 21 days, but it's because the appraisal took a little bit longer than needed. But this is a great program. You also want to make sure that the correct appraisals are being ordered when you're using this program. If you've never used it before, sometimes they think, oh, I just need to do a regular appraisal. So there's a few ways that we need to document the rental income that you're getting, right? So first one, conventional, bank statement loan, DSCR. And then if you don't qualify for any of those, we do have another solution, which is a really good solution. Right now, we have a client that we're funding for a profit and loss statement loan. So a profit and loss statement is just something that a bookkeeper or the actual client can put together. In this case, when you're doing a profit and loss statement loan, it does have to be prepared by a tax preparer or by a CPA, right? Minimum credit score for this program with some of the investors that we have is 640. You do need to do a minimum of 20% down. 20% down. We don't require tax returns. We don't want to see the tax returns for this program. It's basically the profit and loss statement. Another big benefit is you do not need a business license, right? A lot of lenders or a lot of people out there are going to think, oh, if it's a profit and loss statement loan, then he probably needs a business license. We don't need a business license. They do have to be self-employed for 2 years. So there's a letter we have to get from the tax preparer to prove or to state that this person has been self-employed for the last 2 years. Now, the profit and loss statement, we need it for a full 12 months. Most people get it confused where they think, okay, we're in August, right? So I need it for last year, for 2025. We would need it from August of 2025 to August of 2026. So it's a full 12-month cycle that we need. And again, the letters, the documentation that we need from them either has to come from a CPA, licensed CPA, or a licensed tax preparer that has a CTEC number. The letters that we need to provide are pretty specific. So we need to make sure what we do on our team is we make sure that we talk to the client and make sure we talk to their CPA or their tax preparer to make sure we're getting the documentation that we need.
I think that profit and loss definitely is really good when it comes to clients that do landscaping, because a lot of people have W-2 jobs sometimes, or sometimes they just do landscaping. So I know that we've used that in the past a lot with people that have their own landscaping business.
And thank you so much for that, Ursula. That's another big thing is if we're doing a bank statement loan, we can actually use the bank statement loan plus their W-2 income. So say they don't qualify for enough with their bank statement loan, then we can also add the W-2s on top of it. Two other ones that are really, really good. These are loans that I always tell clients, you know, there's loans that are a little bit more difficult, that take a little bit longer, but for us, communication is key. I always say, you know, communicate everything, assume nothing. And with these type of loans, communication is going to be the key with both us, the agent, and the buyer. So we also have a profit and loss statement loan with only 3.5% down, right? This one is really good because you're putting very, very little down on the property, but you do have to have a business license. So that's a catch. You have to have a business license, and the business license has to be active for at least, I believe it's 4 years, right? So issued before December 30th of 2022. Minimum FICO for that one is 640. Again, we don't require tax returns. Profit and loss statement is required for the last 24 months, right? So 24 months year to date. So then it would be from August of 2024 up until today. Self-employed prepared letter is acceptable. So because they have the business license, they can actually prepare the letter themselves. It follows FHA guidelines, and another big one is it has to have the borrower has to have 3 active trade lines that have been open for the last 12 months. Right. So again, what we do is we go, what's the best loan for this client? And then if they don't qualify for that, what's the next best one? And then we move down the line until we get them a program that fits what they need or that helps them qualify. Right. Again, what I say is todos califican, everybody qualifies. It just depends for what program, how much money down, what do we need to do for your credit? And are you willing to move to the place where you qualify for it? The last one we wanted to go over is written DOE.
Can you go over examples of 3 trade lines?
Yeah. So 3 trade lines would mean, say, for example, if I just started my credit 12 months ago and I opened up a Home Depot credit card. So the Home Depot credit card had to have been open prior to August 2025, right? And then the same thing, say I opened a Macy's card. Same thing, it would have to be open prior to 2025, and say, you know, Ursula bought me a nice car and I was a co-signer on there. That would be a trade line as long as I have one year riding around in that nice car. Okay, the next one is written VOE. So VOE only program. So WVOE is written verification of employment, right? So then we just need the person's employee. This is perfect for someone that gets paid in cash, right? I've had borrowers that get paid half in cash, half in check. For what reason? I don't know. But what we do is when we have those type of scenarios, this is a great program for them, right? 580 minimum credit score. We don't need the W-2s. We do need a verification of employment, and it has to be a verifiable place. It can't be a mom and pop shop that doesn't have a website or anything like that. It has to be a valid business, right? Because these banks are taking a risk on just approving a client based on a written verification of employment. Eligible for 2 to 4 units, and it typically follows FHA guidelines. So again, guys, for us, what it's all about is providing value and giving you guys solutions to every program. Again, what I said earlier, my team is Balamonte Mortgage, but we're part of Next Gen. If you guys are outside of Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, San Benito County, and you guys want an agent, a lender to meet with your clients in person, right? We have amazing loan officers all over California. You know, we have San Diego, Pasadena, Fresno, Sacramento. We're all over the place. So if you guys need to connect with a great, amazing LO, all you have to do is connect with us, and we'll make sure that we connect you with someone that's amazing, that's going to provide the same type of value that we do in your area. And 2 more that I'm going to go.
Jerry, quick question. Sorry to interrupt, brother. The 3.5% P&L, are you using Kings for that one?
Yeah. So the last time we closed one was a while back, but it is available. As I was saying, for me, it's always going down the ladder, right, to see what they qualify for. Ideally, we can qualify them before we get to that point, to that type of loan. But it is available. As I always say, communication is key, because some of these programs, some of these lenders take longer than, say, a conventional FHA, even bank statement loan program. So we always want to make sure we set realistic expectations, right? Now, realtors, lenders, we get 1099 at the end of the year, right? So we do have a 1099 program, ideal for realtors and lenders. There's a 1 to 2 year option, 10% down, we can go down to as low as a 10% expense factor, which would require a letter from a CPA saying that that's your expense factor. So anybody that's preparing your taxes can prepare that for you. 620 minimum credit score, and they go up to 4 million. So any realtors that are out there, any lenders that want that program, we do have that available. We do have an asset depletion. We'll save that one for another time. I want to leave a little room for some questions. But then on the next webinar that we're going to be doing, we're going to be going over a fix and flip program that we have for investors that are looking to buy a home and are tired of using their own money. Last year, I put on my vision board. I said, hey, I want to work with at least 3 investors this year. Y Dios nos bendició con la oportunidad de trabajar, to work with a few investors. And the one thing that I realized in talking to these guys is that most of them have the money, but they're like, Jerry, I don't want to tie up my money on projects. I'd rather tie up the bank's money. And even if the interest rate is higher. So just a quick sneak peek with these programs, we've closed a few transactions, and it's a huge benefit to the realtor because they get the client into a fix and flip. And guess what that client's going to do after he fixes that property, right? That's why it's a fix and flip. He's going to sell it. So not only do you represent him on the purchase, but then you represent him on the sale. And most of these clients that are buying these fix and flip properties are so easy to work with. So easy to work with. On the next webinar, I'll share a video. It's a really cool video. I took a video before the renovations, actually pictures. I didn't take a video. I took pictures, but then there's a really cool video that his realtor created that shows the property after the repairs. So stay tuned for that one. Jose or Pamela will send out the info. I think we're going to be doing these Wednesdays. I don't know if we'll do one next week, but every 2 weeks at least. And again, we do have lenders all over California. We do conventional VA, FHA, USDA. We pride ourselves in closing in a timely manner and over communicating. Jose can share a little bit. You know, he's with the team. He's helped close a few transactions with us, but our goal is always to close in 14 days or less.
We definitely emphasize on that closing period and preparing ourselves. We definitely have systems in place that will get us to the finish line as fast as possible. But obviously, as we have our systems, we also would need the help from the clients and the realtors to be able to help us out and get some of these documents that we can't get. But even, what was it, a month ago or 3 weeks ago, I think it was, I was driving to this lady's house to get her documents, sign those documents as well. So we're definitely emphasize on getting that closing as fast as possible.
Yeah, and if there's a client, because what we do is we make sure that we sit down with the client. We read what the client his turn times, his response time is going to be. So we create a group text, and then we'll let you guys know, hey, you know what? We have a consultation right before you submit an offer. Hey, you know what? This client is not going to be able to close in 14 days porque we have to go to their house. We have to print out all the documents. So we'll let you guys know. But worst case scenario, say it's 21 days. Jose went out to this client's property. I think he was going out like twice a week to get documents, right? Because sometimes clients send us the documents, they send us unclear pictures, but we pride ourselves in making sure that we take care of what we can control, right? Every appraisal with us is ordered on a rush, no matter what, because we want to shorten those contingency periods. Now, with us, we make sure that we get an underwritten approval for your client. That meaning you don't have a loan contingency for when you submit offers, right? So we want you guys to be able to submit the cleanest offers possible for us to close more transactions. One thing that I would challenge you guys is if you have dormant leads, I have Pamela and Ursula on my team that are amazing at reviving dormant leads. So if you have any dormant leads that haven't responded in 1 to 2 weeks, I challenge you to include Ursula and Pamela, and I can put money on it because I believe in my team so much, but they've revived so many leads in the past. I think we have like people that hadn't reached out for like 2 years that are refinancing, referring us new clients. So the name of the game for us is how do we maximize what you currently have and also help you build, right? I don't like taking business from other people, but how do we maximize what you have and how do we build for your future to help you accomplish your goals with production, with your lifestyle that you want to live? So again, thank you guys for joining. We're going to be doing this again next week or the week after. We'll let you guys know. But on the next one, it is going to be the fix and flip program that is amazing. It's not only going to put money in your clients' pockets, but it's going to help you double your production with those clients because you're going to get the purchase and you're gonna get the sell. And right now with today's market, you might even get that buyer for that listing. So thank you guys so much for joining. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Pero again, one of the biggest things is we do have a team. Next Gen is all over California. We're continuing to grow. So anybody that is an agent that wants to connect with an amazing lender in your area, we have them for you. We have Alex. Where are you at, Alex? In Modesto?
Modesto area. Yeah.
Modesto. We got Willie in Pasadena. Jose, I believe, is in Madera. We have Fresno. We have agents all over California to connect with realtors, to provide that level of service. That's what Next Gen is about. It's helping you maximize what you currently have, but also helping you grow. So again, thank you guys for joining. I want to respect your guys' time. I know we said it was only going to be 30 minutes. So till next time, we'll make sure we send you guys an invite for the next one. And I do want to give a shout out to Willie, because Willie was the reason that I thought about doing this. I had thought about it before, and then I saw Willie was doing something on Fridays. I was like, dude, let me try something out. So thank you, Willie, for that inspiration.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, guys.
Thank you
Well,
guys. Have a
good
blessed
one.
Wednesday.
Any questions? Feel free to reach out.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jared.